like to call the East China Township Board meeting for July 1st, 2024 to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call. Supervisor Westrick?
Here.
Clerk Smith here. Treasurer Hart?
Here.
Trustee Babel?
Here.
Trustee Blackstock?
Here.
Trustee Richley?
Here.
Trustee Knott's absent.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everyone had a chance to review the agenda, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Richley.
Support.
Support by Ms. Babel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes, same thing. If there's no changes or corrections, I'd entertain a motion to approve those as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Richley.
Support.
Ms. Hart. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Presentations, Mr. Matt King, Sheriff Matt King.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start out by thanking the board for allowing me to speak today. I'm going to give the quarterly report and also present the annual report, which is the first time we've made an annual report at the Sheriff's Office. I'd like to start out by introducing myself. My name is Matt King. I am the Sheriff here in St. Clair County. I began my law enforcement career 28 years ago. I started my law enforcement career in Detroit. 1 year out of high school, they hired me, much to my mother's chagrin. I did 2 years down there and came back home, and I've been here at the Sheriff's Office ever since. So I'm working on my 26th year at the Sheriff's Office. I spent 20 years of that on the Special Response Team at the ranks of Deputy, Sergeant, Lieutenant, and then Captain. 9 years of that at the Drug Task Force. If you're wondering about the math, the Special Response Team is an on-call, not a full-time position. 2 years in the Detective Bureau as a Lieutenant. And I was able to attend the Michigan State School of Staff and Command and the FBI National Academy, both 10-week academies for law enforcement leaders. It's a little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong resident here in St. Clair County. My parents built a house in St. Clair Township when I was 1. They're still there. And this is what I call home. So again, just a little bit about myself. I do want to respect the board and everybody else's time, as I know you have other business to take care of. So I'll try to get through this information quickly and answer any questions if I can. To the quarterly report, this quarter here in East China Township, the deputies responded to 231 calls for service. Most of the numbers are pretty on par for last quarter. I do see that the miscellaneous calls or responses to incidents is up quite a bit. Last quarter it was 42, this quarter 71. Those type of calls could be civil matters, follow-up, property checks, checks on schools. The kind of things that the deputies are doing to be active in our community when they're not being called to with specific calls. So I like to see those numbers up because that means that they're being proactive in their activity outside of calls for service. That is the short and long of the quarterly report. I'm actually here today to kind of boast a little bit about our annual report. I gave everybody on the board a copy of the annual report. For the citizens in the gallery, I did put a few copies up here. I never know how many people are coming. And I always encourage everybody to go to our website at www.stclaircountysheriff.org to see this digitally. It's pretty expensive to print one for everybody in the county, so we obviously want it available for everybody to see digitally. Our Sheriff's Office has a lot going on, and this report is a great way to highlight all the things going on. And specifically with our contracted townships and city, we do have broken down stats for each one of those areas as well. And in East China, we have the statistics. I guess I don't have page numbers, but you can find it in there if you'd like. In 2023, we had 931 calls for service, and it breaks down different types of calls and activities. So it's a nice snapshot of what's going on here in this township and throughout the county itself. The Road Patrol itself responded to 54,000 calls for service, so you can imagine it's a very busy group. But outside the Road Patrol, this document also shows all the other things going on. Things attached to the Road Patrol like our Detective Bureau, our Marine Division, our dive team, other support staff positions. A lot of specialty groups like our Drug Task Force, which I'll talk about in a minute, our Special Response Team, Accident Investigation Team, our drone team, which I always have to follow up. The drone is used for three things. mainly is used for capturing photos of bad wrecks or accidents. It can drive over top of an accident scene or any crime scene really, but it's used a lot with the accident investigation. Take thousands of photos and recreate that on a CAD system 3D. It's terrific evidence collection, and it really helps bolster our accident investigation team, which is state renowned. We got a very highly trained team. We're proud of it. The sad thing is they're so good because they get used so much. We have a lot of high-speed traffic and roads in this county, and they are called on a bunch. With that, we also have accident reconstruction experts and water crashes as well, which is very rare. And again, with all the waterways we have here in the county, it's very much needed. The other two ways that they're used is to support our special response team. We had a barricade just recently, a barricaded gunman. Some gentlemen decided to commit some crimes out of county, came home. We caught up with them. They didn't want to come out. We were able to break a window out after a search warrant was secured, send a drone in so we know what our deputies are dealing with. And then the other thing that's used for is search and rescue of lost people, maybe children or elderly. So those are the three things that they're used for. Most recently in the bad crash down in Muscatine Bay, we used the drone to make sure that we weren't missing anybody from this crash at Hatton and weeded area. So it's a very good tool. Traffic enforcement team, we are proud that we have doubled the amount of school resource officers in my first 4 years in sheriff. Also, we have the corrections division who, they don't get much praise, right? People don't think about what they do. They work very hard facilitating and securing the facility, running transports and facilitating programs in the jail. There's over 15 programs in the jail specifically to allow the inmates and detainees to learn some skills, maybe get their GED, so hopefully when they get out, they don't reoffend. The better they are when they get out, the better the public is, because that means hopefully less people are being victimized. Again, I mentioned our Marine Division. They patrolled 1,406 hours of patrol, remembering they were only on the water about 5 months of the year, responded to 189 calls for service. Our dive team, another specialty group in our agency, due to the different waterways we have here in the county with the big lake to the north that's very deep, obviously the fast traveling waters in this river, and then the lowlands and the lake down in Lake St. Clair. They have a lot of specialty equipment and they're highly trained as well. Our Explorer Post, which we started up 5 years ago, allows young people to explore what it's like being a police officer. They're trained in everything that we do, from traffic stops to interviewing people during domestics, tactical work, and they actually did us proud this year when they went to the yearly competition for the Explorers throughout the state, and they won the Governor's Trophy, winning as being the #1 Explorer Post in the state. So that's pretty cool when you think of some of those really huge departments that bring 3 or 4 teams. So we're proud of that. Our drug task force, the millage is up this August. I'm sure everybody is sick of seeing all the signs. We know it's a political year and it's hot and heavy out there, but the drug task force millage is up and the work they do in our community is very important. The drug task force millage pays for 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants, and 9 deputies from the sheriff's office, 1 sports staff from the sheriff's office, 2 police officers from the Port Huron Police Department, 1 police officer for Clay Township Police Department, and 1 police officer from Marysville Police Department, as well as 1 prosecutor and 1 support staff at the prosecutor's office. We also have embedded that from the U.S. Border Patrol 2 agents and U.S. Customs and Border Protection 1 agent, which are on loan to us. We don't have to pay their wages, which is great. That allows us to follow the drugs to where they came from. We don't stop at our border here in the county. We want to make it very uncomfortable for drug dealers to come here and settle and create criminal activity or criminal enterprises. So we chase them back to their own city if that's where the problem starts. And oftentimes we do drug raids in other cities, including Detroit, and anywhere from our county to Detroit or our county to Flint. The Drug Task Force seized $3.5 million in drugs last year, which is a huge impact on our community. And in this cycle, as I call it, meaning this last 4 years, and we're only about 3.5 years of this cycle, as I call it, we seized $6.8 million worth of drugs and hundreds of weapons. And it's important to know that, you know, it's not just the impact of the drugs dealings that we come across with our drug task force, just about every property crime that is not either just a happenstance because a kid was doing something or a domestic type situation, and just about every crime on a person, again, that's not a domestic type situation, has some link to drugs or alcohol abuse. So keeping a cap on the drug trafficking in our county is very important because it does affect all citizens, even if you're not affected personally by somebody who uses drugs. I always say nobody breaks into a pole barn and steals tools and hawks them to pay rent. Nobody sticks a gun in someone's face and robs them at a party store because they want rent money. That's desperate acts by desperate people who are usually addicted to drugs. So the impact and our ability to use our informant base and the information we gather goes far beyond just what the Drug Task Force is mainly there for, which is arresting drug traffickers. So that was a very quick rundown, and again, I want to respect the board's time and everybody's time here, but the full report is available online, as I mentioned. There are 3 copies back here, and each one of the members on the board did get a copy of it. So I'll entertain any questions from the board or anybody else if the board would allow that.
Good.
Thanks for taking care of our township.
Yes.
It's my pleasure. The deputies love working here and throughout St. Clair County, and really is one of the townships that are very supportive. And I'll just state in a truly honest from the heart statement, I've been in law enforcement 28 years. I've seen a lot of good and bad, and this county supports our law enforcement. We can't say thanks enough. I get told by deputies all the time that, you know, they're in a drive-through and the car in front of them paid for their lunch, and that doesn't happen everywhere. So it takes a community to be safe, and that kind of support really helps us to feel appreciated. So thank you very much.
It looks
Thank
like we
you.
got the least amount of calls for you for townships too, so trying to cause the least amount of grief.
Yes, it's
Keep our
a
residents in line for you.
very well-behaved township, yes. Thank you all.
Thank you,
very
Sheriff
much.
King,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
You have a good night. Okay, public comment. Please speak, come to the podium, name and address, if anybody has any public comment.
Hi, I'm Mary Luongo. I live at 5441 Point. I came last fall, I think, and we talked a tiny about the water project and the fact that we had to flush our pipes after every water break. And we had talked about how that ran through our meters. And was there anything that we could do to get relief on our water bills? So that was a question that I had asked last year. Never really got an answer. Have we had any discussion? Is there no?
We did. We took a look at the previous periods for water usage and compared them to the time period you were talking about there, and there was a negligible difference in most people's water bills, you know, or usages in those. And I know it was an inconvenience for you, I really do. And I think the amount of water is not as much as you probably think, but it was a real pain for you, and we apologize for that. Hopefully that's all over with.
Hopefully, we've moved on.
Yeah, and-
My next question
Yeah.
is, when I call in to talk to somebody about the restoration on Point, who do I get the call back from? Who is the person that I talk to?
Mainly, I field some calls, our township manager fields some calls, but we turn them all over to our DPW supervisor, and they in turn generally turn them over to the inspector for our engineering company who's out there working on it. They actually were supposed to do a big list today, and our supervisor was sick, so.
Oh, well, he was very kind. He was very
Yeah.
nice, but I
They're
didn't get
going
his
through
name.
this week, and they're gonna make a complete list of everybody that has an issue, plus the ones that we see for correction. And we're gonna give them a time period of not, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, weather permitting, to repair everything that's on that list. So that should be done this week, as long as he gets back and he's not
Is the
sick. and
list
we can do that.
available to the homeowners? anyway?
Pardon me?
Is the list available to homeowners?
No, it'll be an internal list of, like, if you have an issue at your place and what the issue is, and it'd be, like, we have some of our own and what we've seen, I've driven it. I drove it over the weekend again, and the inspector has some issues that he wants repaired, supervisor does.
So my specific concern is that the seeding part of the restoration process has seeded weeds all up and down the street. And so.
Yep, that's on the list.
Yeah, so, do I come to the next meeting to get the answer to this question, or how will I know if you have decided that will be addressed?
Well, if you have a specific issue, please let us know. We have your address, right?
Yeah, I talked to the man. He,
Oh.
like I said, he was very
Yeah,
kind.
yeah.
But
Then
you know-
he more than likely, we'll check to make sure that you're on the list, but we have a lot of those areas that obviously we can see the weeds are growing. It got hot, the grass didn't grow, the weeds did. So they're gonna have to do something about that.
Okay, so that, we just, if-
That's on the list to basically go through every place, and every place that the grass didn't take, they gotta get it reseeded.
okay,
A lot of it's settled, a lot of it's from last year, where it settled over the winter, a lot of it's from now, where it settled in, it's still not right.
Ours is.
They've got a few
it's just
driveways
the
and stuff to do,
weeds.
so-
It's just the weeds that we're kind of frustrated with.
Yeah,
So if that's on your list, I will let the process work. I'll trust the process.
yeah, there's a lot of those on the list,
Yeah,
a lot of areas like that.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yep, thank you. We'll make sure that your address is on our supervisor's list, though.
What was his name?
Blaine.
Blaine. You know, I get a lot, and I should be up there, but I get a lot of, well, that's the contractor.
Mhm.
And that's a little irritating because he didn't just show up.
Yeah,
So, you know, are we not vetting our contractors, or do we need a better process to vet the contract? What process vets the contractors?
they've all have that issue. I think they're
Yeah.
waiting for this.
Piper's Act vets their suppliers, and they report to Piper's Act. If Piper's Act doesn't pick good suppliers,
But someone in our group picked Piper's Act.
that's
That's my point.
the
That's my point.
Yeah, there's different contractors working in the township right now.
And I don't know who broke the pipe 6 times. But
Yeah,
we're just like out of our minds.
yeah. Unfortunately, the problem with this project is we don't know where our water mains even are.
No, I get that.
So they're gonna hit stuff and not know it's there, and that's the frustrating part of
Well, I
it.
sort of get that.
Yeah.
They
You know,
said
the water
last time we
services
did
are
this
there.
was 1968, but I think we put a man on the moon in 1969.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to accept that.
Yeah, they're made out of concrete, and believe it or not, asbestos, but
I forgot.
these water pipes don't have any metal in them, so we can't find them in the ground. Like we put plastic in now, same thing, but we put tracer wires in there to locate that. So it's a big problem. A lot of services that were installed but abandoned, but they were still connected to the main up to the curb stop. When they're digging, they don't know they're there. That was abandoned from our plans. We don't know they're there, and they'll hit them, and they'll pull them out of the main, so. Oh, no? They found a lot of them, yeah. There's some they caught and didn't pull out, but, you know, it's kind of hard. It's just one of those things. They were doing borings out here. They're 10 foot away from the other water main, and it's still broke. So, it's the nature of it. Let's just be thankful that the pipe is in the ground.
Right,
We're
the
get-
worst is
we're
past.
past that. The valves are all done, and the pipe's all done. We just have to finish with the restoration now for this portion of it. So that's the good news. Thank you. Yeah, they're supposed to do an extensive walkthrough this week and get this done. So, anybody else? If not, consent agenda, C1 departmental reports. Entertain a motion to approve that as presented.
Real quick question, the DPW summary, is that under this?
Pardon me?
Is that under the DPW summary?
Yeah, this is something he sent over.
Okay, so that's just under consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda items as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported by Mr. Ridgely. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Hart, disbursements.
We have disbursements, payroll, $36,510.24. Accounts payable, $353,327.97. EFTs in the amount of $12,969.85. E-checks, $302.30. And invoices, $94,432. For a grand total of $497,542.36. I'll make a motion to pay the bills in that total amount.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Hart, by Mr. Knotts. Any comments or questions? Mr. Ridgely.
I have a few clarifications. Probably an easy answer to this, but under body or Bodie construction, the $259,139.45, what was that for?
That's probably pump station work.
Okay,
They're doing the pump station projects, they're also doing the water meter, the master meter pits, two of them.
okay,
But I would imagine it's pump station meter pits, they're almost done, and they've been done for a while.
okay,
But if you looked at the DPW report, that brings you up to date on everything too, and that's what we found. Today,
Okay.
we looked at the powers to those and everything else, so.
okay. And then under Yo and Yo, the $7,000, is that for the base audit, or is that for the other work that they were doing?
I do not know.
It's the final payment for the audit.
For the audit? Okay.
Okay. And then on page 2 of 11, Coach Cliff's Gaga Ball Pits, is that something that was approved by the tax commission by chance?
What are you looking at?
Under page 2 of 11 of the invoices, Coach Cliff's Gaga Ball Pits, LLC for $1,343.
Yeah, that's the grant that was received for a Gaga Ball kit.
Okay.
Yep, so that's paying that, but the grant was a
Okay,
receipt
I got
for
it.
that particular piece of equipment. It's paid
Okay.
for by a grant.
okay, very good. Under 5 of 11, Fletcher, Falco, Shouty, and Francis for legal fees. What was that for?
That's miscellaneous fees for when I talk to them, call them on certain things, or our township manager uses them.
Are we over budget on that?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Hold on one second. I think I have a couple more.
I mean, they've been real good with response too. I mean, call them, give a question,
Yeah,
Okay.
I know one of those was,
And then on 6 of 11, international controls equipment for the auto gate repairs for the park. Is that coming out of the park budget? Or is that coming out of our budget? For it's total
what's that
1,000.
GL number?
208. Oh, so it is the park,
yeah,
okay.
it's part.
I got you.
208, park, okay, yeah, that's part coming out of the park.
Okay. And I think I have one more. On 11 of 11, the Woodhill Group LLC, $1,831.25.
That's that accounting service that we hired.
Right. Is that a final payment, or are we gonna continue?
I would imagine that's a in-progress payment. We're still working with them. And
Okay.
our treasurer knows more about it too, but yeah, they've been working with our bookkeeper, getting things in order for next year.
Okay. I was just curious.
I believe
Yep.
they do like monthly.
It's probably a progress billing.
Okay.
Okay,
That's all I got.
all right.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments or questions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote, Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes,
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Trustee Natz?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Okay, unfinished old business, none, new business. I have a comment before we get started on this. At our last meeting, I think, for lack of a better word, things got out of hand a little bit at the last meeting, and I want to apologize for that. I'll take most of the blame for that. If not, you can send it all on me, that's fine. I don't like using this, but I guess it's my job to use it, so. I feel like I'm in a courtroom too much, and I don't like courtrooms. I've been in them enough, so. But anyway, I'd like to try to tighten things up a little bit as far as, follow the rules a little bit, from here on out. I don't want to happen what happened at the last meeting. Basically, I reviewed all my notes from the MTA conference and everything I had, and, a motion and a second is generally required before we have any discussion on any subject. And I'd like to try to stick to that as much as we can. And, if there's a lot of dissension, we need to get some more questions answered before someone you can make the motion and then not vote for it. I did that not too long ago. But anyway, that's part of the rules, and then, we can try to take it in order. I'll poll people, and ask, raise your hand, get my attention, something, or if everybody wants to speak, we'll just go in order. But, I'll recognize you, you have the floor, please don't interrupt. say what you gotta say. We'll try to answer any questions we can at the time. Again, you know, we can agree to disagree. I think Sandy said that, you know, that, we're here to do a job. So, you know, if we can just try to stick to that, I would really appreciate that, because I don't want to have to use that. And if I have to, I'll use it on your head. But anyway, so in light of that, I just want to try to keep it professional and get a hand. And we've been doing pretty good. I should have probably used that at the last meeting a little bit more, and I apologize for that, so. Anyway, new business, 1, draft master plan authorization for distribution. Everybody has a copy of this?
If we have comments or questions on certain things, like I have a few pages, I've noted some things that I have questions on. Would that be directed to you?
Yep,
Okay.
and I'll make sure that our consultant gets it.
Okay.
And they'll consider those
Okay,
before we
great.
talk.
So, in the action item tonight, we're basically authorizing to distribute this, correct?
Yeah.
The draft,
Yes.
correct?
Right.
The draft,
I make a motion to do so.
okay.
Mr. Blackstock, thank you. Okay, comments, questions? Anyone?
Start off just giving you the highlights. We met numerous times as a group, planners, you invited the public, other members. This has been updated thoroughly compared to what we did the last time around. I think the highlights to this obviously are demographics, but I think we included the redevelopment of the Edison in this as well, which is a big part of our township.
Right.
Just keep in mind, that's a long-term plan.
Right.
But I think the group worked very hard on this, so.
Well, eventually they're gonna come around and give it to us, right?
We have a plan.
I'm not sure we want it, right?
We have a plan and a goal, put it that way.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I know that you guys did a lot of work on this, and thank you for that. Okay, any comments, questions, anybody? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. New business 2, resolution, Ms. Hart, I believe you needed to put this on the agenda when we have the 8-2024, and you get the joy of reading it since you put it on.
I'm sorry, Mr. Supervisor, but don't we have to at least say yay on this? Because you're asking for action. Nobody said nothing yet.
Are you talking about?
The one we just got done talking
Yeah,
about.
I made a motion and Herb seconded it, and we voted on it just a minute ago.
Okay.
You missed it. Was you a yay or a nay, Herb, or Ralph?
I don't remember the voting part, but I'll take your word for it.
Authorize it just for distribution. Resolution number 8-2024.
Okay, just want to explain a little bit first. It's for starting a Michigan Class Investment Fund. They provide a much larger percentage on the extra funds that we have, and it's all grouped in one place, so we can have easy access to it rather than having banks spread out all over. We will still be diverse. It's not going to be our only one, but it's a little bit more than 2 times the interest rate that we're making now. So this has to be done in order to authorize me to do that. And I've been working with Jeff Anderson at Michigan Class.
Okay.
And the supporting documents are attached of who's already in it. Okay.
I got a question.
So, is there a motion to,
Just going to read the resolution first.
Ralph has a question.
Well, we're gonna do it.
yeah, are you making a motion
We have the
to?
motion first?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution
Okay,
8,
thank you.
2024.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Okay. Now, Mr. Knotts, you have some questions. Thank
You
you.
just talked about one of the benefits for doing this. I'm wondering, what is our goal for how much of our money we're going to put in this
Right,
one
that
fund?
was my question too. What are your plans on that?
We're going by his, I guess, recommendations. We have a couple funds, like Flagstar Bank, and there's a Huntington one, and we have a large amount of extra in the general fund, it would all still stay in those funds, but it's going to be moved to a Michigan class where,
No, that's not what I asked.
I don't have exact amounts.
You have, some
like
of
a
our
percentage.
funds, some of our funds are spread out for good reasons to different institutions.
Yes.
This is another institution. How much of our money, percentage-wise, do we intend to put in this particular institution?
It would probably be about half.
Up to 50%.
Yeah.
And they're diversified, though. The pool
Yeah.
is all
It's not all
different
one fund.
funds. It's not just one account, just one.
Okay, and my
it's
question
all
too, like the
municipal
banks are
funds.
FDIC insured,
Yes.
you know, and whatnot, is this?
Only up to a certain point,
Right.
and
Just like the banks.
these are still just like the banks.
I mean, what I'm, like,
I don't.
is this a stock thing?
No,
Or-
no, no.
Okay.
I mean, they invest in
Is it more mutual funds and
what
whatnot?
about-
U.S. Treasuries.
What about, what is the risks of,
Right.
'cause I see this as like a money market fund.
Low.
Huh?
The risks are low.
Yeah,
Lower
it's
than
not
a
a,
bank?
We met with him,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
Well, I wouldn't say lower than, not lower than a CD or a
right.
money market, but that's why
It's
they can
more
double
liquid
our-
though, too. Where
double
like a
our-
CD, you know, you're
What, is there
locked
certain
in.
terms you gotta leave it in?
Nope. It's all,
You can leave it
Fully
in one day if you
accessible.
want.
yeah, it's just like, consider them like a bank.
Okay.
But it's completely liquid though.
Yes, and we can move funds around in between funds, too.
I kind of agree with that, but I'm very hesitant about putting 50% of our money in the same place. I would think we should not be quite that much dependent on one particular account.
Well, it wouldn't be, when I say 50%, it wouldn't be in just like one account. It would be, I guess, one bank or to say, or Michigan class, if you want to compare them to like a bank. But there would still be individual accounts underneath that, just like it is now.
Funds.
Yes, funds.
Investments.
But it's all,
Now, would-
East China, you're going to put 50% of our East China funds that we carry in different accounts in this particular fund.
Possibly up to that. I'm not sure on the exact calculation of it yet.
To,
I'm uncomfortable with that. That's-
To move the money from, let's say, one of our banks to this fund, is that something that would take a board action to do that when we're ready, or is this something that's just?
No,
You can do that.
no,
Okay.
that's what this resolution is doing.
It would establish it just like all of our other accounts.
Right.
Yeah.
Adds it to our
Actually, this is
collection.
more secure because if I changed a bank right now, I wouldn't need approval from the board. This is an investment account that requires this, and they've already looked at our investment, I guess, policy, and it's already in compliance and everything. And they just require this to get the ball rolling to set up our
Is
account.
the state involved in this? Is this the state of Michigan thing, or is this a separate group?
It is, yeah, through, it's Michigan class, so it's through the state of
It's
Michigan.
state compliant with
State
the rules and
compliant.
regulations, but it's
Mhm.
not through the state of Michigan.
Right.
All right.
And they have like, you can see all the cities and
Okay, I understand.
that are benefiting.
I would
from
recommend,
These are all the
it.
places
I would
that
recommend that we limit
Yep.
our exposure in this, in one account like this to 25%. I just,
It's a list of, like, funds.
very uncomfortable with
Is
50.
it like
You guys do what you want.
a mutual fund, or?
They are, it's, how did he say? It's like
They're gonna
a-
take it to a portfolio of 10 different funds to invest in.
Well, they-
So,
they don't take a cut of anything.
right.
It comes off the top of the percentage that they are providing to everybody, yeah. And it's never been less than, I think, 5%.
Okay. I
There's
just
no
wondered if they-
extra
if they told-
fees.
They don't tell us exactly what funds they're investing in.
Right.
Like, General Motors stock is not on there, obviously, so. it's-
No,
this is
no,
a
no,
Mutual
no.
fund or U.S. Treasury bond, stuff like
Yes,
that.
yep. Mhm. And, I mean, he said he could come here and explain it more if you all feel you want that.
Well, this is your job, so I trust that
Yeah.
you're gonna do what you're
I
supposed to
mean,
do.
we had a
but
meeting, Sandy was in on the meeting.
I don't know what their investments are actually going into, but I trust that they're not high risk. Or they're
No.
gonna have protection.
Right. No, it's not like the stock market where, you know.
Well, it explains a lot if we read
Yeah.
the resolution.
I was gonna say, why don't we read the
can answer some
resolution and go from there?
questions.
Okay. Resolution number 8, 2024, resolution to approve the addition of Michigan Cooperative Liquid Assets Securities System as an approved investment option, Charter Township of East China. Following resolution offered by Treasurer Hart and supported by Clerk Smith. Whereas the Treasurer of Charter Township of East China oversees the township's investment funds, and whereas the Michigan Cooperative Liquid Assets Securities System, Michigan Class, is compliant with Public Act 20, and whereas the Michigan Class Board of Trustees oversees the pool and directs the pool administrator, public trust advisors, to emphasize safety, liquidity, and convenience while providing diversification of these investments and the advantage of a competitive return. And whereas Michigan Class investments are fully compliant with all appropriate Michigan investment laws, and whereas Michigan Class has over 800 funded participants ranging from very large to very small, and nearly 4.6 billion in shares outstanding, and whereas this investment has no restrictions regarding withdrawals or contributions, affording the Charter Township of East China the ability to use Michigan Class as it best suits for their individual needs. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Charter Township of East China approves the Michigan Class Investment Pool as an authorized investment institution, authorizes the treasurer to complete the necessary paperwork to enroll in the pool, and approves the addition of Michigan Class to the investment policy.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Blackstock, anything?
I'm fine, but I'd be more interested in learning to make sure that there's a safety net. I mean, the way I'm understanding it, correct me if I'm wrong, this is one investment group with many investment opportunities. If we were to invest $1 million into 4 of these, are each one of them guaranteed similar to the FDIC, $250,000? Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so basically it's 4 little banks under one big bank.
yes,
So each of those accounts would be covered if we go that route.
Up to a quarter.
Correct?
yeah,
Okay, as long as there's,
yeah,
Yeah, that's my concern.
yep.
Yep,
Where right now, some of those are over in
Right.
those individual banks.
Right.
And not
I have
covered.
concern with that, yeah.
Mhm.
okay, I'm
Well,
fine.
Mr. Supervisor,
That's my concern too.
You-
Okay.
You spoke your mind right already?
can we get some kind of understanding on a limitation of the amount of funds, the East China funds will be put in this one account?
Can I? I mean, are you concerned with the FDIC limit or whatever, or?
I'm concerned with the amount of funds of East China. We have always, by law, as a matter of fact, put them in multiple accounts for the very fact that in the unlikely event that a bank fails, for example,
Right.
this is another big bank. I think we ought to keep,
Is that your intention?
Yeah, we're still gonna
To
be
keep
diversified.
close to the limits of
Yeah.
the federal
We're not
guarantee?
losing North Star or any of, just,
Right, but you want to get each fund balance to be
Right.
more in line with the amount of insurance on it?
right, and in this, you can also move them within one another where now we're running to one bank, and some of them aren't even around here, or switching it to another bank, or they have, dormant fees because they're not around here, and
Well, I guess what the spirit of what
This
Mr.
can all be
Blackstock was saying,
controlled
your
online.
intention is to maybe get up to $250,000 in each one of those because that's the limit of coverage on those?
right.
Okay. You're not looking to put $1 million in one particular fund just for that reason?
No,
Okay.
And they do the diversifying.
yeah,
We
I'm
don't
okay
say
with it
we
as long
want
as
this
what.
much here and that much
what
there.
Herb
Yeah,
said.
I'm all
We
for
can
a
do the
higher
percent.
return. If we can get a higher
Right.
return on it, that's fine.
right, yeah,
And we're,
this
and
is
we're,
like,
and we're not gonna go over much over that limit, because we are right now with a lot of them, and you know, and I know that.
I know, yeah,
which is the reason we're probably looking into this.
exactly,
So we're gonna try to get more in line with each fund not being over 250
Yes.
guaranteed, okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Ridgely.
Nope, I got nothing.
Okay.
You guys asked a lot of good questions.
All right, well, let's call the roll
All
then.
right.
We want you to vote.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Roll call vote, Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee
I guess I'm-
Blackstock? Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Ridgely?
Yes.
Supervisor Wester?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Hart. Ms. Smith, appreciate it. New business 3, this is more of a check it over. I'm sure you've all read and compared the new to the old by now.
I have one comment when you get around to it.
I don't know if anybody has any questions at this time, but please take a look at this, read through it, check the new language, and let us know if you see anything. It'd be best if you could do that. Maybe before the next meeting, we want to maybe have the first reading, so maybe reach out and let us know if you have
So
any issues on it.
this is not even going to be the first reading.
No, this is a proposed sample,
Introduction.
yeah, for everybody to take a look at and get back to our administration about, yes, everything's fine, or this paragraph, that paragraph, let us know what you think, and then as long as it's something that makes sense, that's a typographical error or whatever, we'll fix it.
Is this coming from the Park Commission?
Yes.
So, we can take a look at it and
How do you want to receive comments?
And that, we don't need any action on that. This is basically just the introduction. Okay. Announcements, anyone? Mr. Ridgely?
Yes. So, I'm gonna be a little bit nicer than I was gonna be because of what you said earlier, but, I had a whole thing here that I was gonna read, but I'll just ask some questions.
I didn't steal your thunder, did I?
You did. But,
I apologize for that.
so under the township, or I guess for future or at a future meeting, are we going to be changing the ordinance for the full-time employees? For the health insurance?
Ordinance for the full-time employee.
Under 37-9? To change the definition of full-time as
Oh,
30
it means
hours?
37 and a half hours or whatever like that. We're looking into that right now with our labor attorney.
Okay.
Yep.
Because the minute that we start providing health insurance for anybody under 40, we're violating that
Our labor
ordinance.
attorney is looking into that, along with everything else that we've discussed with that.
Okay, and then, is there any update on the email that Nicole sent about the job description and the park manager?
Again, our labor attorney is taking that. I made the decision to spend some money with him to clarify that for you. We've been telling you that there is no contract, and you didn't believe
Right.
us, so I'm gonna let the attorney tell you.
Well, no, I know there's no contract, I
Right.
understand. that, but
We're gonna let
there's-
him advise us on exactly how to proceed with that, clean it up, check that ordinance, all of that stuff he's looking it over right now.
Maybe that's gonna come before the board again?
We're gonna bring it back to you for clarification, and
Okay.
if there's nothing that we need as action, we won't, then fine, but I'll let you know exactly where we're at with all that.
Okay. Is there any update on hiring park staff?
I believe they've hired one person,
Okay.
and I don't think they have any more over there, I don't know. Is that true?
It's on the sign outside.
Yep, yep, we need people.
Yep.
It's also on Indeed.
I think she has one person.
Okay. If I can make a suggestion without, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but it's just a suggestion that, like, for future reference, for us to, like, utilize the attorney, I think the board should vote to do that, in my opinion. But that's
That
just
should
me.
be up to the supervisor and the township manager. The board should not be getting involved in day-to-day operations, making decisions to contact our lawyer.
That's a cost, that's the,
Well, it's not gonna be utilized unless they need to call and get
If
legal
I'm gonna spend a
advice.
ton of money, I'm gonna
This
let you know.
isn't something new. This is
This is not gonna take a long time for him to review, but
but the,
administration
right. but-
101.
Right. But part of the problem is, and I guess maybe it's me that doesn't understand, but in my opinion, we have a township manager, and now we're hiring somebody else as well that's gonna be doing executive work, and so
Well,
now,
we told you that we didn't need, we don't have a contract with the park manager and some of this other stuff, but I know there was some doubt in that, I believe, from some members, so basically, I'm gonna let him clarify everything for us in an email. He's not gonna spend a lot of time on it, you know, but he'll let us know exactly what we need to do to comply with everything.
I don't think there was debate over whether it was a contract or not. It was just a debate over whether the person was part-time or full-time and what that definition was. I think that was the
Right.
debate. But,
Yep.
but the other thing that, Because just to kind of, to take the work off your plate, that was the point of doing a lot of this stuff. And so I think for the future, that's why, because we just hired that person. I mean, I haven't taken the spot yet, but that's why we did that, so that.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, the new DPS contract wording, did you get that email that I sent about that? About the wording in the contract? Is it already signed, or?
Did you sign it? Did you send it today? Because I did not check anything today.
I sent it like 2 weeks ago.
Are you talking about reporting to the township?
Correct.
Yeah, it actually reports to the township manager.
Well, no, it says in this contract that the township manager reports to the supervisor.
Right.
What-
I take direction from the board back to the township manager, and the township manager comes to me to get back to the board. I'm the person in between the board and the township manager technically. I mean, that's our role. I looked into that to clarify that, but that's what I do for that part of it.
But that's not.
I work between the board and her, back and forth. I'm the person that works. I take things to you from her. When you have direction or need something, I go to her for clarification, for whatever, to execute those things. That's kind of what my job is for that. My township supervisors is a go-between between that, when there is a township manager or superintendent.
But according to her contract, that's not what that says. So that's.
Her contract, I'm not sure exactly what that says. I just know, I understand my role, and that's my role. You're saying that.
I'm saying that I'm confused at that because I thought that's the purpose of a township manager, was to run the day-to-day operation of the township.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And then when it needs board intervention, or when it needs something to come to the board, it comes through me to you, and back the other way. Like if you want me to take a look at something, or something needs to be done, whatever, I bring that back to the manager tomorrow morning and say, hey, this is what the board said, this. So, you understand that?
I understand what you're saying, I just don't agree with that. I think it's, but anyway, that's.
a lot. I don't agree with a lot of stuff either.
You don't think that's the way it's supposed to work, or?
No, because, but at that point, it's like, what's the point of having a township manager then? It makes no sense to me.
Can I say something?
Well, doing the day-to-day stuff, not me, she is.
Can I say
So-
something?
Sure. Mr.
We're not just butting in, I'll just ask first.
Mhm.
Quit Township is organized as charter township. There are rules for a charter township. One of the rules is that supervisor is in charge of everything. He can, in fact, though, delegate his authority to anybody he wants to. And as a matter of fact, you could have a deputy supervisor without the board's approval who would have whatever authority you told him he could have.
And I've already checked into that this
For
week.
example, but right now, he's delegated some of his authority to a township manager. But he could take it back, but she still has to report to him. I think you're confusing.
There's a rule in there too, that says there's a superintendent or a manager, that they do the day-to-day operations, and I coordinate between the board and the manager.
The board.
We can look at it together.
You can
Come back.
hire
I'd be happy to do
somebody.
it.
You can hire somebody, but you gotta come to the board to pay them,
Right.
for example. Okay?
Yeah, I can appoint a deputy, but it's not necessary what we're doing, but.
Because the board has to approve money.
Okay, and then, we'll talk more later on, but, when do, the other email about the employee evaluations, how often do we do that for?
I didn't have an answer for that one, I don't know.
Okay.
We do an evaluation with our township manager, I don't know what the frequency of that is, or when's the last one done, so I don't know if anybody else has any.
We used to do them once a year.
I say
but
usually once a year.
I don't know that we have
Yeah.
continued that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something I do, or the board in general does, but I will check into that.
Okay, and then,
I've been swamped for the last couple of weeks. I finally met with the crop insurance people today, so it's over with. The towel has been thrown in.
I'm skipping through a lot of the other stuff I was gonna say, but anyway, Orchard Drive, the property that's in disrepair, the tree and the grass and the, like.
We're
mice
working
and
with our
building.
building official and the code to try to do as much as we can in our legal realm to do that.
Okay.
There's only so much we can do, and we're
Okay.
gonna do everything we can do. possible condemnation. We got that in the other building that burned down there, we're trying to correct now. So we're doing that with the asset group that meets, but hands get tied a lot of times on it if it's habitable still. So you can't go in and take their tree down just because it doesn't look good. We definitely cut the grass, we address that, and even the ordinance on it. We can just go in there and do it now
Okay,
for the rest of the year as it needs it.
okay. Bryson Lane, the gravel, is there a timeline on that?
We had them go down, put some gravel on the whole real, on that one day. They're scheduled to put a lot of gravel on it to bring it up, but they're busy, you know how that is. It's at their schedule when they can get it. Plus, I don't want to have it put on and not have chloride available.
Right.
Because as soon as you put it on and grade it, it's going to be really dusty and they'll complain about that. So we
Yep.
want to make sure we get it at the same time. So our district foreman for the road commission is working on that. But he did go down a week or so ago and fill in that big hole that they had with some gravel temporarily. He did address that.
Okay,
And I communicated that back to the people that contact me on Bryson, and they were happy.
okay.
But they're gonna put more on it.
And then on South Riverside, the house, it's on Oak Street and South Riverside, but there is a drain that's on our side, on South Riverside. I don't know if we were, if people from the township were digging, or, I mean, as in, like, doing work for the township, or if it was someone else, but there's like a
That
sinkhole.
Miller pipeline was in there, I think, for the Semco.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, I think they were digging in there. They dug all along South Riverside and then
okay,
they put a new main in.
okay, I got you. And so then, the last thing is, and I already did this, but I sent out a postcard and a letter to every person about the last meeting and kind of like my thoughts on what transpired. And just, there's actions that we took going to cost a lot, like with the water and sewer rates and that kind of thing, and I think people should be aware of it, and that's all I got.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Mr. Knotts?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. You know, when you're as old as I am and been in the Civil War, it just kind of takes me a while to figure out what I want to say.
But he said Revolutionary War.
Anyway, no, I don't have anything.
Ms. Hart?
I do have one thing. I know you kind of addressed it, that the parks manager does not have a contract. I don't believe contract was the word. We do have an agreement that was signed in January. I'm glad it's going to be looked at.
It's a job description, it's not an
The
agreement.
job description, that's what you call it.
It says agreement, but,
Change the words.
Again, our attorney's gonna take care of this.
Right.
Make sure it's.
I just
it's
hope all
appropriate.
the points are, you know, I don't know why you can't get any response back by emails when I ask a question, so that's why I'm bringing this now. You know, the parks manager has gone unsupervised for many years in the past. We worked diligently to get that position under the township's control and under the direct supervision of the township manager by the agreement that was signed in January. It does say agreement, I can pull it out, that had the retention bonus on it. The township manager said it would take some time to figure things out, and in her own words from an email dated October 17th, 2023, that the entire board was sent before, she stated, first, while the park commission had hired a park manager as a part-time employee years ago during a time they needed to make progress that they believed was not being managed, the township has since hired a township manager. My position is intended to be the administrator for all township operations and oversee all employees of the township. I have stated many times that having the parks employees report to anyone other than the township administrator will continue to cause issue. We cannot have two sets of rules for what is essentially one workforce. We have been circling around this conversation for years without addressing this as an overarching issue. The rest of the problems are just symptoms. That's an email from the parks, our township manager. Well, now it's July 2024, and a lot of these things have not happened. For example, the park manager still has her own timekeeping method and doesn't have to punch a clock as every other employee does,
She does like an approved method of timekeeping.
even including the ones who also work out in the field. The township has paid thousands of dollars for a timekeeping BSNA model that she does not use like the rest of the employees. She is allowed to work alone in a remote office with no windows, while others in the office are continuously told they cannot be alone in the office at any time. She was deemed part-time seasonal worker, also noted in the October 17th, 2023 email from the township manager, and also what is in her current agreement. However, we have now given her insurance, setting a precedent for other part-time employees. I know it was stated she worked an average of over 30 hours in the past years. However, we all know that those hours were not really worked because during COVID, when she was under the direction of the Parks Commission, they gave her a straight 40 hours pay even while she was not working. Some say there's a vendetta against this person, but that is not the case at all. The problem lies in the October 17, 2023 email from the township manager, when certain employees get treated special from the rest of the team, having two sets of rules. That's exactly what is being done here and continues to go on. I'm not sure why, and nobody can tell me why. And I have not gotten any answers, so I'm just trying to hope that this all gets under wraps and these issues don't continue to go on, but again, in the township
I don't
manager's
understand what issues you're
homework,
talking about.
Neither do
I just stated it. She has.
She's being managed by the township manager now.
I know, but-
She is logging in and logging in her time. She's working in a building over there that's at the park, doing more of the physical labor now because we don't have any help. We're
But
putting Rachel in
treating-
her office to answer that question.
That's good.
Are we dissatisfied with her job for some reason?
Absolutely
No,
not.
it's-
I don't believe we
Fire her,
are.
that's what it sounds like to me.
It's again, the
She's
fact
not
of
doing
having
it.
two
What?
sets of rules for one workforce.
What rules are you talking about?
She has one set of rules, everybody else plays by other rules.
She has the same set of rules that she does
I'm just saying,
as a
that's all I
discretion.
have to say.
What are you saying is the different rules?
I just explained it all.
I didn't hear it.
She doesn't punch a time clock, she doesn't use our timekeeping system,
She most certainly does.
a special one,
She uses one that she logs into.
a special one from everybody else.
Do you want to spend the money on putting a time clock over
We
there?
already spent the money for a system that.
There's not a
she's-
time clock over there.
I know,
We can buy one if you would like.
well, that'd probably be a lot cheaper.
Do you distrust that the time is being
It's-
reported correctly?
Again, it's not a vendetta against that person, it's just, there's two sets of rules, and
Do you not trust that the township manager is correctly monitoring the time that she's working? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying there's two sets of rules. And there shouldn't be. And now we're giving her full-time benefits for part-time work.
That's
it.
already been rehashed at the last meeting. It's
I know.
30 hours and they have to be covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Mr. Rixley?
I just have two things, just to add to that real quick. She was spot on everything she said, but the time clock we bought, well, I think it was before my time, they bought a time clock over there. They took it off the wall. I think it wasn't working or something, allegedly, but they took it off the wall. Now it's gone. I don't know where it went, but that was before we took back over the employees over there. But then the other thing is there was potentially fraudulent time, and that's the point. That
Can't do anything about the past.
I understand that, but that's the point. What other employee would be allowed to do that? I mean, that's the only point that I have.
What she puts down for her time and what she's doing is definitely trackable, and it is being tracked.
Now.
Yes. I can't do anything about the past.
So, right, but I'm just saying, we're saying that, they had the hours on paper, yes, but
Well, if she doesn't average 30 hours, she doesn't have insurance. That's the rule.
we're talking about the past, like a look back on hours that were potentially fraudulent.
I can't do anything about that.
Right,
And if
right.
you're asserting that they're fraudulent, that's a big statement. I can't,
Fraudulent hours, we need to go in.
I don't want to make that statement that I think they're fraudulent. I don't. That's a pretty powerful statement, but I want to
If we're gonna
clarify that
accuse
there
an
won't be
employee of being
any
fraudulent, we should get out.
non-workable hours paid for this anymore.
That's ridiculous.
And we don't have any other way.
I agree.
We don't have any other way
Hours
to
is
get,
ridiculous.
what she got paid is what the union is going to
You
go
approve
by.
that?
So we, all
Yeah, I can't, but yes, I have emails that
Okay.
prove it.
right,
I have emails that
We're
prove
moving
it.
forward.
Yeah,
We're
right.
getting things in order. We're
Get
getting,
your damn
all right.
I say,
gavel out and beat me on the head with it.
no.
Anything? Mr. Blackstock? No. All right. I think that's it. There's nothing else. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
support.
It's moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.